Welcome back to Bound by Destiny, the love chronicle of Nailah and Kiano. In the last 2 episodes, we met Nailah and Kiano in their lively Maasai village. They first saw each other at a traditional ceremony, then sparks flew. They grew close, sharing dreams and learning more about each other's lives. However, trouble started when Nailah's family wanted her to marry someone else, and Kiano faced pressures from his community. Their love was tested by family expectations and societal norms. In this episode, we will see how these pressures lead to a big conflict and a heartbreaking separation. Nailah and Kiano will face their toughest challenges yet, as their families insist on different paths for them. Will they find a way to stay together, or will the forces pulling them apart be too strong? Stay with us to find out. And remember, if you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more wonderful tales. Nailah's family kept talking about the arranged marriage. They believed it was the best choice for her future. Nailah felt trapped and sad because she loved Kiano. Every time her family talked about the marriage, she felt more torn inside. Her heart ached with each conversation, and she didn't know what to do. Nailah tried to explain her feelings to her family, but they didn't listen. They only saw tradition and duty. The pressure from her family was becoming too much to bear. Nailah felt like she was losing herself in the process. She knew she needed to make a decision soon. But what could she do? Could she stand up to her family and fight for her love, or would she be forced to follow their wishes? Every day, the conversations got more intense. Her family gathered in their home, talking loudly about the future. Nailah sat quietly, her heart heavy with worry. She loved her family and wanted to make them proud, but she also loved Kiano deeply. It felt like her heart was being pulled in 2 different directions. She wished she could find a way to make everyone happy, but she knew that was impossible. Kiano was also under a lot of pressure. His community expected him to be a leader and to uphold their traditions. Kiano loved Nailah, but he didn't know how to balance his love and his responsibilities. He felt torn between his heart and his duty. Kiano often walked alone, thinking about his problems. He wanted to be with Nailah, but he didn't want to disappoint his family and community. Kiano felt lost and didn't know where to turn. He needed advice and guidance to find a way through this difficult time. Kiano decided to talk to his father about Nailah. His father was a respected man in the community, and Kiano hoped he would understand. But when Kiano told him about his love for Nailah, his father's face grew stern. "You have a duty to our family and our people," his father said firmly. "Love is important, but so is responsibility." Kiano felt crushed. He loved and respected his father, but he couldn't ignore his feelings for Nailah. Kiano often walked to a quiet spot near the river, where he could think clearly. The sound of the water helped calm his mind. He thought about the future he wanted with Nailah, and it seemed so far away. He wanted to make his family proud, but he also wanted to follow his heart. As he sat by the river, he wished for a sign, something to help him decide what to do. One evening, Nailah's family pushed her too far. They demanded she agree to the arranged marriage. Nailah couldn't hold back her feelings any longer. She argued with her family, trying to make them understand her love for Kiano. The argument was intense and left Nailah feeling even more isolated. Her family's words hurt her deeply. They didn't understand her love for Kiano and only cared about tradition. Nailah felt like she was being pulled apart by their demands. She ran out of the house, tears streaming down her face, feeling more alone than ever. Nailah's mother followed her outside, trying to calm her down. "We only want what's best for you," she said softly. But Nailah shook her head, tears still falling. "How can this be best for me if it makes me so unhappy?" she cried. Her mother sighed, looking torn. "Sometimes, we have to make sacrifices for the good of the family," she said. But Nailah didn't want to hear it. She needed time to think, away from all the pressure, Nailah ran to her favorite spot, a quiet place under a large tree. She sat there, hugging her knees and crying. She loved her family, but she loved Kiano too. Why did she have to choose between them? She felt so confused and alone. She wished Kiano were there with her, to hold her and tell her everything would be okay. But he wasn't, and that made her feel even more lost. Kiano decided to seek help from a wise elder in the village. He hoped to find answers to his problems. The elder listened carefully and gave Kiano advice on how to balance his heart and his duties. Kiano felt a little better after talking to the elder, but he still had many questions. The elder's words stayed with Kiano. He knew he had to make a difficult choice, but he wasn't sure what to do. Kiano walked away from the elder's hut, deep in thought. He knew he needed to find a way to be with Nailah, but the path ahead was not clear. The elder told Kiano that love and duty are both important, but sometimes one must make sacrifices for the other. You must follow your heart, but also think about your responsibilities, the elder said. Kiano nodded, understanding the wisdom in the elder's words. He felt a bit more hopeful, but the decision still weighed heavily on his mind. As Kiano walked back to his home, he thought about Nailah and their dreams. He couldn't imagine a future without her. But he also knew he had a duty to his family and community. Kiano sat down by the river again, letting the peaceful sounds of nature soothe his troubled mind. He needed to find a way to balance his love for Nailah with his responsibilities. The pressure from both families became too much. Nailah and Kiano knew they had to make a painful decision. They met in a quiet spot to say goodbye. Both were heartbroken, knowing this might be their last moment together. Their farewell was filled with tears and sadness. Nailah and Kiano hugged tightly, not wanting to let go. They promised to remember each other always, even if they couldn't be together. With heavy hearts, they walked away from each other, feeling the weight of their decision. Nailah cried as she walked back home. She didn't want to leave Kiano, but she felt like she had no choice. Her family was so sure that the arranged marriage was best for her. Kiano, too, felt like his heart was breaking. He loved Nailah more than anything, but he didn't want to let his family down. They both felt so helpless, and as they walked away, both Nailah and Kiano felt a deep sense of loss. They had shared so many dreams and hopes for the future, and now it seemed like those dreams were being torn apart. They didn't know what the future held, but they promised to keep each other in their hearts. The decision to say goodbye was the hardest thing they had ever done. After the separation, Nailah felt lost. She missed Kiano terribly and struggled to find joy in her daily life. She tried to stay busy with chores and helping her family, but her heart wasn't in it. Everywhere she looked, she saw reminders of Kiano and their time together. She found it hard to smile or laugh, and her family noticed her sadness. They worried about her, but they didn't know how to help. Kiano also had a hard time. He couldn't focus on his work and felt a deep emptiness without Nailah. His friends tried to cheer him up, but nothing seemed to help. Kiano felt like a part of him was missing, and he didn't know how to move forward. He missed Nailah's laughter, her smile, and the way she made him feel. The days felt long and lonely without her. Nailah often went to their special tree, sitting quietly and thinking about Kiano. She wondered if he was thinking about her too. She missed their talks, their dreams, and the way they understood each other. Nailah felt like she had lost her best friend. She didn't know how to fill the empty space in her heart. Kiano, too, found himself drawn to the river where they used to sit and talk. He missed the sound of her voice and the way she made him feel whole. Kiano tried to stay busy, but his thoughts always returned to Nailah. He felt a constant ache in his heart, missing her more each day. Nailah decided to find strength within herself. She joined in traditional activities and tried to reconnect with her roots. These activities helped her feel a little better and gave her a sense of purpose. Slowly, she started to find her inner strength again. Through these efforts, Nailah realized that her love for Kiano made her stronger. She decided that she wouldn't give up on her love, no matter how hard it seemed. Nailah stood tall, ready to face whatever challenges came her way. With renewed determination, Nailah started to feel a bit more like herself. She joined her family in making crafts, dancing, and singing traditional songs. These activities reminded her of who she was and where she came from. Nailah felt a small spark of hope growing inside her. She knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but for her love for Kiano. Nailah's family noticed her change. They saw her becoming more involved in the community and felt proud of her. They still believed in the arranged marriage, but they also saw Nailah's strength. Nailah hoped that one day, they would understand her love for Kiano. She wasn't going to give up. She was determined to find a way to be with him, no matter what. Kiano also went on a journey of self-discovery. He spent time in nature, seeking wisdom and clarity. He sat by rivers and walked through the savannah, thinking about his past and his future. These moments of solitude helped him understand himself better. In the quiet of nature, Kiano found peace. He realized that true strength came from following his heart. With this new understanding, Kiano returned to the village with a clear mind. He knew he had to fight for his love and find a way to be with Nailah. Kiano found comfort in the beauty of the natural world. The animals and plants seemed to tell him that life goes on, no matter how hard things get. He felt a sense of peace that he hadn't felt in a long time. Kiano knew that he couldn't give up on Nailah. He had to find a way to balance his duties with his love for her. With a new sense of purpose, Kiano returned to his village. He sought out the wise elder again, looking for more guidance. The elder reminded Kiano that true love is worth fighting for. Kiano felt stronger and more determined than ever. He knew the road ahead would be tough, but he was ready to face it. Nailah and Kiano found unexpected allies in their communities. These allies believed in their love and wanted to help them. Nailah spoke with a supportive elder woman who offered her wise advice and encouragement. This elder understood Nailah's love and stood by her side. Kiano also found support from a close friend. This friend encouraged Kiano to fight for Nailah and not give up. With the help of their allies, Nailah and Kiano felt stronger and more determined. They knew they had to overcome the obstacles and reunite. Nailah felt a new sense of hope after talking to the elder woman. The elder had experienced love and loss in her own life and understood Nailah's pain. She told Nailah that true love is rare and worth fighting for. Nailah felt a renewed sense of strength and determination. She knew she had to keep going, no matter how hard it got. Kiano's friend reminded him of the importance of following his heart. He told Kiano that love is worth fighting for and that he shouldn't give up. Kiano felt encouraged and supported. He knew he had to be strong for Nailah and for their love. With the support of their allies, Nailah and Kiano felt ready to face the challenges ahead. With newfound strength, Nailah and Kiano were ready to face their families and the community. They knew it wouldn't be easy, but their love was worth fighting for. Nailah walked towards her family, ready to speak her truth. Kiano did the same, prepared to stand up for his love. As they approached their families, they felt a mixture of fear and determination. They knew the journey ahead would be tough, but their love gave them courage. Nailah and Kiano were ready to confront the challenges together, no matter what it took. Nailah stood before her family, her heart pounding. She took a deep breath and spoke clearly about her love for Kiano. She told them that she couldn't marry someone else because her heart belonged to Kiano. Her family listened, seeing the determination in her eyes. They realized that Nailah was serious and that her love for Kiano was strong. Kiano also faced his family and community. He spoke about his love for Nailah and how it gave him strength. He told them that he wanted to be with her, even if it meant going against tradition. His family saw his determination and began to understand his feelings. They saw that Kiano was ready to fight for his love, no matter the cost. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey of Bound by Destiny, the love chronicle of Nailah and Kiano. In this episode, we saw the heart-wrenching conflict and separation between our beloved characters. Despite the immense pressure and the pain of their forced parting, both Nailah and Kiano have shown incredible resilience and strength. Their journey is far from over, and the challenges they face will only make their eventual reunion more poignant and powerful. We hope you've been moved by their story and the rich cultural tapestry of the Maasai people. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the final chapter of Nailah and Kiano's love story. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the dramatic and heartfelt conclusion in our next episode.